Hello and welcome to Gaelic Football Views on CavanTV.com. On tonight's show, we'll be looking back at over the weekend's GAA results.
But first, we're delighted to be joined in studio by Christopher Rowley, the principal of St. Pat's, JJ Riley, a former teacher in St. Pat's, and Charlie Donoghue, a member of the 1972 winning Hogan Cup and McRory Cup teams, but more importantly and probably better known as Tom McCormick's uncle. I think it's fair to say.
And Frank's brother-in-law.
And Frank's brother-in-law.
You want to be called Frank, I suppose.
Thanks a million, lads, for joining us. I suppose it's important that everybody out there knows exactly why you are here. St. Pat's McRory team has qualified for the McRory Cup final this coming Tuesday in Armagh. The game's at 1:15 in the Athletic Grounds. They take on St. Pat's Dungannon, but you are, as it was pointed out earlier on, the past, the present and the future of the St. Pat's colleges. So I suppose we'll start, Charlie, with you. Back in 1972, you were a member of the team the last time that St. Pat's had success. At that time, St. Pat's were king of Ulster at that stage.
Well, only after they won, Damien, it got great recognition around the county that for a long time it was the first time that a team had won an All-Ireland in Cavan. So, there was great excitement, tremendous excitement going up to Croke Park to play the All-Ireland against a Kerry team. It was just fantastic, For a young fella like myself, it was something you dream about, So
and I suppose, not dissimilar to this current St. Pat's team, you were one of the younger members because there were quite a few older members on that St. Pat's team at the time. Yeah,
a lot of the players, most of the players who played in that team would have played the previous year. And there were only a few places left, I'll put it that way, when I came on the scene. And, myself, Aidan Elliott, Larry Brady probably took up those positions, and we all had to work hard to hold on to them. There was great panel players there as well, like a Fergus Costello, Adge King, people like that. You really had to work hard to hold on to your place with that squad,
Yeah. You mentioned it there as well. He's went on to win the Hogan Cup as well, after winning the McRory Cup. And, it's been a massively barren spell since then. Only 3 years later, they got to a McRory Cup final, they lost it, and we haven't had any success since. It's 40 years, 43 years since they won a McRory, 40 years since their last final, Frank.
That's right, Charlie.
Charlie.
Thanks, Mickey. Look, no, it's important to remember, that, of the team in 72, they weren't just an extra year older than a lot of places, which they wouldn't have been in the northern clubs. But, some of the players in that panel went on to play outstanding football for their county at senior level, and it proved that there was tremendous talent in it. And, with Father Benny Maguire and the work regime within the college, I can remember going back in on snowy Christmas days to train for St. Pat's, it was unheard of at the time, and all the panel turned up. It wasn't like somebody making an excuse. Everybody was there, wanted to be there, working hard as a unit. It was a great camaraderie, great commitment. And the result proved it,
And can you remember back to 1971, was there an incident or was there a realisation at that point that, geez, if we use this extra year that the colleges above have, if a few lads maybe repeat, we have a very good chance here? Or was it a planned out situation that, let's go for this?
Well, I'd have to say, I was a fifth year in the college. I wasn't privy to what went on in the ref room, with the priest. But I would say there's maybe a conscious decision that to try and get players in, hold on to the players that played the previous year, And I know there was also the fact that some of the players realised that while they were close the year before and win the McRory, that if they did get a chance again, being a year older, it committed them to come forward and to come back to the college and play. But a lot of them were there and interested and mad to play,
You mentioned going out and training on Christmas Day,
Well, not Christmas Day, but Christmas
time. At Christmas time or whatever.
Yeah,
but they must have been visionaries, because that's something that happens now, that teams go out.
Yeah.
And then McRory Cup teams now, they start training before they go back to school as well, sometimes and stuff. So it was a massive commitment, and it was something unheard of, I suppose, as well.
Well, yeah, and in many respects too. And the other aspect of it was, we were doing physical training beforehand, for weeks before we actually started training on the field. And Patsy Lee, I'd have to commend Patsy for the great work that Patsy done. He was in charge of that, done tremendous work. Not in ideal conditions, it was down in the basement of the college for, different schemes were run up. We had to run inside and do the work inside, go outside, do runs in the country, come back in, and you know, have a cold shower maybe after because you didn't have warm showers. You know, so you know, there's tough going at the time, but it was well worth it in the end. You know,
the current players, I heard them talking about the level of effort they've had to go through. They've described it as hell, but enjoyable, you know, as in they've had to work so hard to get where they are. It was the same back then. Nothing has changed in that sense of GA.
Yeah, I mean, you worked as hard as you did. You know, conditions may be a little bit tougher in those times. You know, you hadn't as good pitches, that ball was heavier, so you had to improvise as much as you could. You know, the ramp in St. Pat's was used. And you might remember it, I'm sure a lot of college students do. You know, the ramp was used. You ran up, down, backwards, up and down the ramp. You didn't want to see it again, you know. But it was, you know, there was a lot of physical work. There was a lot of football. You know, there was a lot of commitment. You know, I'd go into college at 9 o'clock in the morning. I didn't get home till 9:45 that evening, being a student after playing. You know, cycling in and out. It's a totally different world than there is today. You know, but tremendous times. You know.
JJ. What are your recollections of the 1972 team?
Well, just to put it in context, it's interesting that had begun teaching in 1972, not in St. Pat's. I went to St. Pat's in 1974. I'd been teaching in St. Clair's Convent from 70 to 74, but I was following them very, very closely. But it's interesting that in this, Charlie talked about the ramp. College football I grew up with was successful. Home and away games, and we gathered all around the ramp and be in a home game there in St. Pat's. And the star at those times was Ray Carlin. He was absolutely unbelievably dominant in the middle of the field, and the ones in 60 and 61, or 61 and 62. So I grew up in St. Pat's when we won 2 or 3 McCrorys, and I'm sure Chris will know about the preparation now these times. Father Turlock O'Reilly composed songs from different operettas, changes the words to suit St. Pat's. You know, we're on the run, we're on the run. We showed them we're the great St. Pat's and all the rest. So there was a fantastic ferment of activity and enthusiasm, and there wasn't much study done, but it was fantastic, and we were winning then. Push it on then to 70. I remember being 70. I was in Pat's when they lost in 75. and should have beaten Coleman's, and it was a big disappointment. After that then, I was there during the Barron period, and I have to say it gives me a fantastic thrill to see them back in the final now. Over those years, those so-called Barron years, occasionally we did get to semi-finals or quarter-finals of different competitions, including McCrory, but I think there have been a few game changers in that, in St. Pat's. You talked about the fellas repeating. Charlie mentioned the fellas repeating. In 2007, the transition year came in. That's right. And that, while not compulsory, it changed things because we were now playing on a level playing field. Before this, you could have a Ranafast team who won a certain year. 2 years' time, you should be playing McCrory, but after 1 year, they were gone. So it was a frustration. We did win some Ranafast, but McCrory was out of reach. So the transition year has been fantastic. And then secondly, the advent of the arrival of the coaches from County Board, you know, Finn O'Reilly, Andy McGovern, Sean Doherty. Mm-hmm. And so the success there. Now, so success breeds success and barrenness breeds barrenness. So over the 40 years, we were often in certain situations, but because of lack of success then, you didn't know, the success is breeding success. So I say it gives me a fantastic thrill, though very little was one of my time, to see St. Pat's back again in the McCrory final. It
was, and I remember while I was in St. Pat's that certain players just didn't bother playing, and good quality players, actually who went on to play county senior, wouldn't play for St. Pat's, and a lot of that was probably down to the fact that they knew the McCrory was the big one and we could never really be competitive. Like my final year in McCrory, we got to the quarter final. We're very unlucky, but the likes of Dominic, your nephew, Paul O'Donnell, they were my age, but they were already in college. They weren't eligible, and that was
that's exactly the point. And they had they stayed an extra year, you'd have a great chance. But Chesty and Gavin Duffy and Andy King and all those boys who were in the same year, they made a concerted promise that while they all wanted points for leaving cert and wanted to study as much as possible, they said, no, we'll all go into this. And they were beaten by 1 point by Oma in the quarter final. In the earlier competition, the stages of the competition, they beat Pats Armagh, and Oma beat them in the quarter final. Pats Armagh went on to win the All-Ireland, the Hogan, with Sean Cavan and Roland Clark. So they were that close. But I suspect that was way back in the 80s or 90s. Had there been a tradition, late 90s, that's all right. I'm glad we might have skipped that way. But I've no doubt that had there been a culture of success in the previous 10 to 15 years, those boys would have been on the tide of that and gone over the line and maybe won all Ireland. So to make, the other point to make very simply is that I would say definitely there have been great teams in the past over the years, but the culture of success, organisation wasn't there. But for the reasons now that the changes have taken place, hopefully that's in the past now and won't be repeated.
I know that, but you're saying like the lack of success, and it breeds the lack of success and whatever. But you mentioned it already. You know, they were playing against teams in Ulster who had the year on them. Like they had the 6 years. And the transition year has really changed that as well, and it's given them a level playing field to go ahead and do what they've done this year and hopefully go on. And
I remember. Going up, McRory quarter-final playing Mahara. Who had Mahara got? Sean Marty Lockhart, Darren McNichol. 1 year was Anthony Tohan. Most of the Derry team that went on to win the All-Ireland. And she hadn't hope in hell, you know. Now you'd have a far better chance. They were organised, they were winning during 20-year McRory finals nearly in a row, and they won a lot of them. So they had the culture of success. But it's funny, the other point to make is, it's interesting now that Chris will know this, that is that when Pats are playing, say tomorrow they're playing in some competition, Cornogue playing Coleman's. It's only Coleman's. They're playing Mahara. So what? They've beaten all the top teams in between Dalton, Cornogue, Brock, Ranafast. And so the culture of failure and the culture of fearing teams is gone now. Completely. Which is great.
Yeah.
You know?
It was amazing, Chris. I was out on Friday with you in St. Pat's, and Charlie mentioned about running up the ramp. Well, the McRory team were going out and doing a little bit of running, but they were coming down from the new building, down the ramp, onto the lovely new pitch. Conditions
they have it easier.
They had it a whole lot easier. But conditions now, and the facilities in St. Pat's since you've been involved, so much better now.
Yeah. Look, the facilities are first class. We've got a new build. We were very fortunate. The IMF came in, I think, into Ireland on a Monday or a Friday, and 3 days before the school got the grant of 7 million to build a new building. It was 3 days. It could be a different story. Yeah. And they turned the sod in 2010, and the keys were handed over, and we moved into the new building in 2012, September 2012. And with a fabulous new gym. I suppose we were able to save our old assembly hall, and we've turned that into a little circuit training thing where they do light training there and builds them up. The big thing is at seniors breaking the tackle. It's the same thing now in colleges football. Yeah. And I remember years ago when I was working in Coothill, I got friendly with Garrett Coyle, who's the teacher in McCartans, and they got to 2 McCrorys in a very short time.
That's right.
And I remember asking him what was the difference, and he said we always had good footballers, but he says we got a gym and we put in a small bit of weights, and it's all free weights. Not big stuff. They're not bulking up or anything like that. But he says we were able to break the tackle.
Just conditioning the players a little
bit of conditioning, but I suppose there was a whole setup in the school. The transition year was central. There was a plan put in place. Lee McNiff would have been my predecessor, would have had a huge amount to do that, and they partnered with the county board, and the county board coaches have come in. They work with our own coaches, like we've 5, 6 very good coaches, Shane Fitzpatrick, Gary Dignan. We've some excellent coaches in the school. More established coaches than Gerald Gunn was over our McCrory last year. So we have some very good coaches, and I suppose the whole scene, we've been very fortunate to have as chaplain since 2009 for the Cavan Fay. And I think anybody knows Cavan knows Kevin's passion for GAA and passion for the school and Cavan football.
That's for sure, yeah.
And he's his enthusiasm really in the school has no bounds, and he leaves no stone unturned in terms of not just the preparation of the McCrory, but driving on all the teams. We won the Cornogue this year. We had a very near miss in the Ranafast. We lost the semi-final by a point. We had 2 very easy scoring chances at the end that were missed. The Cardinals won the final easily. So we're competitive now in all the divisions.
It's a wonderful thing to see, and it's so different for the likes of me growing up around Cavan and being a St. Pat's student to see now the kids around Cavan, and not just in Cavan town, but so proud to wear the St. Pat's tops, the training tops, the jerseys, and they're walking with their chest out and their head up because they know that they're as good as anybody
It's very
and better than most.
It's very similar to what's happened with Cavan football over the last
Yeah.
maybe 8 years with the under-21s and whatever. We used to look around Cavan and you used to see like Tyrone jerseys and Armagh jerseys and maybe Kerry jerseys and all the kids and whatever, like, because that's it was a kind of a branding or whatever. But now Cavan has become a brand, and now the college itself has become a brand as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see it, Mickey. That you see colleges like St. Pat's coming up. And it's great for Cavan football. When that happens, they say the rising tide lifts all boats, and it'll stand to Cavan football in the future when you see the great work that's been put in by the like of St. Pat's.
Yeah.
And also
to
just
bring players on,
And also it's interesting that I know that this last few years and in next year as well, some of clubs' best players at the underage are going to St. Pat's rather than go to their local school, because they know that it's a good football tradition there again. They'll be looked after academically, but also football-wise, and it'll be better for the club then to go back.
As you mentioned,
Interesting point.
schools, it's been happening all around Cavan though. Like you look at Virginia College, you look
Right.
at Maryleborough,
Breffni
you look
now.
at St.
It's great
Clair's
for
and
Cavan football,
Ballyduff,
Breffni are improving.
and they're all improving.
Yes.
They're all getting to Ulster finals, and,
Yeah.
and this is just another step in it. And I was just going to say to Chris, like, next step is St. Pat's of Dungannon on St. Paddy's Day. JG, you were telling me before we went on air, they were last in the final 4 years ago, 2011. They're looking at it going, geez, we've had a barren spell of 4 years. We've had a 40-year barren spell. So
All I've been reading, Michael, for the last 2 times they won the Hogan Cup, or that Mahara won the won the McCrory and the Hogan Cup 2 years before them. And then the year before, the Mahara won the Hogan Cup, or won the McCrory and lost the Hogan Cup final, which has happened 2013,
So all the ducks are in line.
2014. So if the gods are right, it will be Dungannon, but we would be hoping for a different result.
Oh, absolutely,
I've been reading a lot about that.
Yeah, but I'm sure, no doubt, Father Kevin, Fimber, and Shane have all been reading it too, and been pushing it home with the other lads to say, lads, we've done the work now. It doesn't matter what's in the past there.
Huge amount of
we
work.
don't care if the stars are aligned in the right way, but this is not going to happen.
We'll break through that tackle as well. So we will.
I think the mental preparation, I was talking to Finn Barretti the other day, and I was saying to him, every team is equally fit nowadays, at any level you're talking about, and it's the mental preparation. Yeah. And whether the fellas know, you'd be as well not to know the enormity of the occasion and how enormous the win would be to bridge that 45 or 43 years. So there's well not to know that. Now it's easy to say it's just another game. It is and it isn't. But to insulate them from that and try and just play the game, forget about the occasion, just play the game, So
if you look back on the semi-final, Chris, you'd say that these lads have the mental maturity to deal with a situation like that, because there was testing times in that semi-final against Omaha, and they were 3 points down after the goal. You thought, gee, backs are to the wall here, but there was composure all over the field.
Yeah, there was. I'd even go back into the Unions game in the quarter-final, where I think the comment that I would have heard in the stand afterwards, a mature display. A mature display.
Yeah.
This team has come up. They've won Dalton. They've won all the competitions. There's only one that happened along the way. They ran it fast 2 years ago. And I suppose also young fellas have come in. We've had 3 or 4 young fellas who have really hit the headlines this year.
That's right.
Thomas Edward.
Fortune. They were all ran fast.
Yeah.
And we also have to remember that last year they were beaten by Mahara in the semi-final. And that occasion should stand to them. And he went on to get to the All-Ireland final. Yes.
That's right.
So that's experience.
And it's a driving behind them as well.
Very much so.
There's a hunger
Motivation.
saying, like, if they can do that, and there's a lot of us still on this team,
Absolutely.
we can go on and maybe go on further as well. Like, so.
Back in 1972, can you remember the path to the final?
The path?
Just as in your quarter-final.
This is just above the ramp, is it?
Yes, exactly.
You're testing his memory now.
Oh, jeez, Mickey, you're pushing me now there,
No, you don't.
He's beat Abbey in the final.
Abbey in the final,
Abbey
then
in the final.
Jarlath's was in the semi-final for the All-Ireland of
Tuam.
which was comfortable enough win. And then we met, of course, the Kerry team, the Brendans, which driving up to Crow Park, a Cavan team going up to beat the Kerry team, like it was
Did many of that
daunting.
Kerry team go on to play for?
Can you remember
Kerry?
them?
Well, there was a couple of lads. I mean, I was talking to Eamon Gillick today, and he said that he ran Pat Spillane ragged. you know, and
Paddy Shea
I was
was
marking
playing.
Pudgy O'Shea.
Paddy O'Shea.
yeah.
You were
You
marking
know,
Paddy.
No, I wasn't. But I say, I keep telling everybody I was, you know.
Charlie'd never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
But, you know, there were two names that obviously will stick. But they were quite young at the time too, you know, they were coming through.
Yeah,
But,
I think
you know,
also
fantastic players. You know.
Yeah, and also, Charlie, I suppose in case we forget, Lord immersed him, Hugh Reynolds. Now, I think I was reading the other day there, doing my little research as well as you, Chris, against Jarvis in semi-final, he scored 2 goals.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the
Hugh,
All-Ireland.
Hugh was an amazing player. I
Yeah.
mean, there were
Lord
at
immersed
that time in '72, there was only 13 aside,
That's right.
which a lot of people mightn't remember. You know, so myself and Hugh were the 2 forwards, and you know, Hugh just battered through people. You know, he wasn't the most skillful in the sense that if he went for a shot, it could end up with the corner flag. But if he got it on target, it was in the back of the net.
There was power.
You know, I can remember great times with Hugh. You know, Hugh would clatter into the backs, but he'd also clatter into me. You know, and
was
then,
lucky you were a
then
big
it was
fella.
the story was that he'd bad eyesight. So no, genuinely. So they got these again ahead of their times. Got these rubber lens glasses, you know, and put them on him. So I was saying, thanks be to God, you know, I won't
won't
forget.
run into me again.
Next game, he clattered me in the
Yeah,
backs as
yeah.
much as anybody. It was the way he played, he was tremendous, but you know, he'll be an awful miss, and all the lads were up there today. At the
Hopefully
funeral,
he's
and
there in spirit.
He will definitely be there in
He'll
spirit.
be guiding them. I
Yeah.
think now, I was talking to Paul Fitzpatrick and he told me that, now I can't remember the figure, but I think it was something like up before or maybe including the All-Ireland final, he had scored something like 9 goals and 50-something points
He was very good, yeah.
in that
He was
McCrory
very
campaign,
good, you know.
which was a phenomenal
Yeah.
feat. But
And Niall Brennan too was a tremendous scorer for the team, you know, a tremendously skillful
Captain.
player, you know, and captain of the team as right.
he
there,
lifted
you know.
the whole
He was
cup.
tremendous, you know. I mean, I remember in the final, not taking over the time, lads, but at one stage in Croke Park, he went solo and out to the sideline, and we're all saying, "What's he going out there for?" And on the sideline, he turned around, and put it over the bar. You know, you wouldn't see it today even, you know.
Cultured left foot.
Fantastic.
Really, he was
fantastic
left-footed.
football.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, left foot, oh yeah.
You know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I suppose just one funny point that was Paul was telling me again when he was talking to Hugh Reynolds. He interviewed him just this week gone by, and it's in the angle
he?
itself,
Yeah.
and it's
My God,
phenomenal.
I
He
didn't
was
know that.
speaking to him on I think Sunday or Monday, but he had been talking to Kieran O'Keefe, and Kieran O'Keefe had said the same about Hugh as you had said. He wasn't the most skillful a player. Big, powerful man that used to just plough his way through everything.
Yeah.
And Paul said it to Hugh, and he said his comment, I think, was something like, O'Keefe said that, wait till I get the big lummox, I'll knock him out. Or something. So
But
he
he
was
was-
a
Paul was
funny
saying
man, but
this-
he was so excited.
And yeah, he was so excited. Paul was saying that he was so excited. He was ringing him to ask him what time it was at, and he was asking who was
Yeah,
playing and stuff. And you know, he was really looking forward to it. And it's
The other
you know,
point there is that I was at the match in Castleblaney against Oma, and at half time I went down to the shop, and who did I meet? All the old stalwarts. There was really, Paddy Carlin. Now we're going back. Paddy Carlin from Roland's father.
Roland's father.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And they never lost the faith, and always hoped to see Pat's back in the McCrory final. They waited a long time. Ray Carlin there in his Eamon Gillick, Ollie Brady. I mean, it was a stairway of superstars there. Delighted themselves.
For the Cavan has been the one that has really reconnected all the
Is that
way.
right?
He has,
Yes.
yeah. He is kind of. He's got a lot, you know, I had to write a little piece for the program, and you know, I started off said 40 years was too long. But, you know, at the end of it, I was saying that you know, win or lose on Tuesday. You know, the passion for McCrory football is back in St.
Oh yeah.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Father Cavan, you know, has reconnected a lot of the older
Yeah.
players in
Yeah.
this particular team, and you know, there's a big connection between the older players because now they're coming to a lot of the games again.
Yeah, and it's good for the players to see them coming because
Oh.
it, you know, like it's the same as when you're playing for your club. You want to see the older people
Sure.
who played for your club. If you're playing for county, you want to see the players who played when you were growing up. And these lads, you know, when they hear of those names, they know these names when they're playing for St. Pat's. They know what they've done in the past, and they want to emulate them. And then not only that, but when they see them at the game, it gives them a sense of pride. You know, in the jersey as well.
You see, a lot of it's tradition, and the tradition to a degree is was lost.
It was lost,
You know, or
surely.
it was there under the surface, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it was, the structures, maybe the circumstances weren't right. But you look at some of the schools, you take Mahara, they were in 20 nearly finals in a row. The tradition was there, it just bred itself.
That's
So
true.
part of it reconnecting the older generation with this generation is part of regenerating the tradition.
That's
you know,
right.
and the passion.
Yeah.
You also, Chris, you had an interesting email from quite a famous footballer wishing St. Pat's good luck during the week.
Yes, we had Colm Cooper in last year, just before the quarter-final last year with Michaels in the Skillen, and Colm, I had an email from Colm the other day just wishing us all the best, you know. And his one thing would be, you know, I'm sure the lads will be happy to be there, but he'd love them to go on and finish the job.
Wow, excellent. You know, like,
Happy the GA family is
I was amazed
so wide.
a year on, there he was. He's obviously watching. He follows his football himself, and he's obviously takes a good interest.
Yeah, huge inspiration for young lads to have an email like that come in on the week of an All Ireland. There was no emails come in that week in '72, Charlie.
No, like the post.
It
was snowy that day.
Snail mail.
it was very cold, and the pigeons that were sent.
Mightn't have all arrived.
Well, but there was a great support for the team those times. It's amazing around the county the number of people that maybe weren't even former St. Pat's students or whatever. The whole county got behind the team, and I'm sure it'll be the same on Tuesday. I'd say you'll be surprised how many people from the county will be supporting St. Pat's.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be great to see it.
And not only that, but these boys getting to the final, I'm sure it has evoked memories with yourselves.
Oh, tremendous.
And not only that, but it's brought us back into the limelight a little bit as well. And the team that last won it and the team that last got to the final are getting a little bit of...
On that, Mick, it's very interesting. I was talking to a lot of the lads today, and we were talking about Tuesday's game, and they're all going. Anybody I was talking to, they can't wait to go. And I was saying, well, what do you think? And to a man, they said, it'd be great to be consigned to history.
Yeah, the bragging rights will move elsewhere
we won't end up on a Sunday night having to sit down at a radio show talking to two lads. We'll be finished with all that.
And you wouldn't mind that at all?
No.
You'll just
but Charlie, you rang me to get this show on the way. What? I'm confused.
Well, I was told you paid well,
But it is, and it's been a tradition in Cavan that when St. Pat's does well, Cavan does well, or maybe it's vice versa, maybe it is the other way, but JJ, you like...
But there is a connection there, Damien, all right, yeah. Over the years, one went with the other. I'd be two reasons why I'd love to see St. Pat's winning on Tuesday would be to re-establish this tradition that Chris was talking about, but also for the sake of Cavan football, because ultimately Cavan football has to be the winner as well. We're all involved in that, and over the years, I still actually go to county teams every year, see how many former Pats fellas. You're very surprised, usually about half.
Yeah.
And that was from an era of no success. Pints of what could have been won there.
You look at Down football or Tyrone football, Tyrone of 03 and 05, 07. That was built on schools football. The Down teams in the early 90s were built out of Coleman's and all those.
Oh, sure.
And I was going to say the Meath teams of the 80s and 90s. At that time, I remember St. Pat's of Navan playing in the Hogan Cup finals, winning Hogan Cup finals.
That's right.
Right through the time that Meath were prosperous at the senior level. And now that Meath have gone back, St. Pat's of Navan have gone back.
Have they as well?
Like they've
That's
gone to a couple of
interesting.
Leinster finals and stuff like that, but
They're not as
similar
dominant.
to the Meath and that's it.
Yeah.
They're not playing the big part they did.
And it's funny you mentioned that too. Just another link is that Jarlath's Tuam now, who used to dominate Connacht football.
In our time, they were
beaten the other day again. And they used to dominate Connacht. The boarding situation, their boardings are gone, and that's a huge fact. Day schools now are beginning to get more dominant. And you can play that across the line. Boarding in St. Pat's stopped in 2000.
That's right.
15 years ago. And it's just that. And just the other point is that when I was there, the boarding situation was unbelievable because they had nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
And it was
nothing else to do.
Nothing else to do.
Because
Kick ball left, right, and centre.
I went to St. Finian's in Monaghan.
Did you? All right.
And,
yes.
It was the same back in the day when it was just fully boarding. They used to compete at senior level. In Leinster, and they'd won a couple of Leinsters and gone on to Hogan Cup finals. But when the day school had come in and whatever,
different story.
It just totally scattered.
Yeah.
And in '72, would there have been a lot of borders?
That's the majority of them. Damien would have been boarded.
Colleges teams would be boarded.
In my time, I left in 65. The day school was basically an appendage. The main boarders, maybe 300 or 400 boarders, and 100 day boys, 120 day boys. They went home and school went on, and we were just sort of hit in spots. But the boarding was the real thing and all that,
I was 7 days, like Saturdays.
Oh, they're there. Oh yeah.
I suppose from a football point of view, it'd be easier to prepare a team when they're there. You can just say, right, lads, ouches come now. You don't have to.
Yeah, and the other thing is also that if you go down to the history of the whole thing, borders only in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and maybe even 60s, when the Pats were obviously a strong boarding school, they went in September, got out at Halloween and Christmas, Easter, summer. They didn't even play club football. Now imagine this scenario: no club football. So, and fellas, Ray Carroll and Cullens, the best players in the county, came in and boarded in the Pats. I'll tell you a good little one that is very interesting. Jimmy Stafford's father. Jimmy Stafford was a great player along with Ray Carroll in his early 60s, 61, 62 McCrory team. And Jimmy Stafford's father was a fanatic in football, as all the Staffords were and so on. So he used to come in, and this is the time before parent-teacher meetings, and Jimmy was a boarder there, and the father came in. He met Father Mallon, the teacher. How's my fella getting on? And I said, geez, I have to go down to the office here and have a little look. And he went down to the office and he looked through something and he went, yeah. Well, he says, he's doing all right now in Latin, he says, and English is a bit weak, and Greek now is not too. Jesus, for Jesus' sake, Father, he says, how's he getting on at the football? That's all he cared for. Nothing else, most importantly. That's why they were there. It's a fact.
I think a few of the priests might have had the same attitude as well.
Absolutely.
There were very fanatical priests for football.
They were.
Yeah. And some of them are actually going for the Colin Hurley.
You Father Hurley, absolutely. Yeah, brilliant.
For all the past teachers and principals
brilliant.
and everything,
Brilliant.
This is a massive day for them as well.
Massive day, you're right.
It is, it's a huge day.
Massive day for all the teachers, yeah.
It's absolutely wonderful. Well, I think we've taken up enough of your time. We've held you for long enough. But look, I want to thank you very much.
Just
Charlie.
one last thing. I'd like to send our commiserations to Hugh Reynolds' family on his passing. It's very sad. He was a lovely gentleman, and a big family there. We'd just like to send our best to them all.
Yeah, we endorse that.
Looking down the lads.
Please God, yeah.
He'll be there. He'll be there Tuesday.
Yeah,
he'll be there on
Break the
Tuesday.
tackle.
He will, no doubt. And we echo those sentiments. But thanks very much to Charlie Donoghue, of course, for coming in, and Frank has told me to say hello to Frank McCormick all the way out there in Drummondley. He wanted a hello.
I'd like to thank him too for getting me on here.
Well, he said he wants half the fee, so half and nothing is not.
It's important to have connections, all right, in the right places.
It is, and thanks very much, JJ, for coming in. I believe that you were away at a stag over the weekend.
Great man to be still. I was sitting rather than standing.
For a man who
I am,
stag.
yeah. I will a mature stag attender. One day. It wasn't a 2-day stand for me.
Sightseeing in Castlebar.
Exactly, that beautiful scenery.
I wonder are the rest of the lads from the Gaels as fresh looking as you are?
Don't think so now. Don't think so. No.
And just before they go, Damien, go, we better say it wasn't planned that we get 3 Cavan Gaels men onto the show.
Where you're getting
just
that.
thought it.
Will Chris be a Cavan Gaels man?
I had a mixed allegiance. I played all my football with Butler's Bridge.
That's right. He's
he was in the parish. He was in the parish.
Parish of Orney, isn't it?
Orney and Nagellaff.
And then that's all right. So it is a balanced panel, as always, as we do like to have a balanced view on Gaelic football, unbiased completely.
That's right.
And of course, Chris Riley, the principal of St. Pat's. And thanks very much.
And
we'll look at
that you
spelled principal wrong. Thanks for pointing that out, Mickey. Yeah. But I didn't have JJ in St. Pat's as an English teacher, so that's why I spelled principal wrong.
I saw it before, I said nothing. I left it to the principal.
But thanks very much. And as we said already, get up to the athletics grounds in Armagh this coming Tuesday on St. Patrick's Day. The game starts at 1:15 p.m. and we really do want to see a massive Cavan support out there to support the lads, because all the hard work that they've put in over the last year and maybe 2-3 years, they deserve a big support. So we're going to go to a commercial break there now, but join us in part 2 where we'll be discussing Cavan's win today against Galway, Cavan ladies and the Cavan ladies under 16s, as well as the under 21s preview coming up on Wednesday night.
Cavan Crystal Hotel provides 4-star accommodation on the edge of Cavan town. Located conveniently on the Dublin Road, just 60 minutes away from Dublin. With 85 beautifully appointed bedrooms and a number of luxurious suites. We offer wedding packages With our one wedding a day policy, we guarantee to make yours a special day. Enjoy a meal at our award-winning Opus One restaurant, or have a drink in the atrium or residence bars. Feeling energetic? You can work out in Zest Health and Fitness Club, or maybe pamper yourself and visit Utopia Health and Beauty Clinic, or Avita's Hair Salon, both located on site. Situated only 5 minutes from Cavan Town Centre and local amenities. Cavan Crystal Hotel, gateway to Ireland's Lakelands.
Welcome back to part 2 of the show. Absolutely delighted and privileged to have the 3 lads in. That was great fun, I have to say.
And they're just saying their goodbyes there now. It was wonderful to have them in, as Damien says, and you can see the pride and the passion that they have for Gaelic football and for St. Pat's as well. And hopefully this Tuesday it'll be a day to remember, and as Charlie says, a day to put the past in the past.
Exactly. But I one thing's for sure, it will be a day to remember. Whether they win, lose or draw, it's great to get up to the final again, and look, we wish them the very best of luck. So what we'll move on now is to preview the Cavan under-21s are taking on Donegal in the first round of the quarter-final of the Ulster Championship for 2015. Again, Cavan going for 5 in a row. Absolutely massive achievement to get 4 in a row, 5 finals in a row already, but they go in as massive favourites again. Everybody's expecting Cavan to win this one out.
Yeah, look, they're going in as favourites, and understandably so. They've won 4 in a row. They've won 4 out of 5. This is their 5th out of 6 finals in a row, this could be their 5th out of 6 finals.
This could be 6 finals in a row.
Yes,
is what you're trying to say.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to say. But they have a great squad. They have a massively good squad. They've got cover in every position. What I myself would be worried about this year with this team is that they don't have, or they haven't had so far, is an outstanding player who's just taken every game by the scruff of the neck. Now they do have the players to do it. I just haven't seen them doing it yet. Like Pádraig Faulkner is an absolutely massive player, and I think he could be massive in this under-21 championship. Yeah,
definitely will. Like it's I suppose for people who mightn't know, Cavan under-21s, as you said, played Donegal in Ballybuffet this coming Wednesday night, the 18th of March. It's at 8 p.m. But Liam Buchanan, who's underage, is suspended as a result of the All-Ireland semi-final last year, and so is Benjamin Kelly from Templeport. The 2 of them players aren't available for the first game. So if they get over Donegal, they'll be available for the next round. The Cavan team, when you look at the names that are available, you wonder, where are you going to fit? You can only play 15 of them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They've such quality from
massively good squad
in defence. Fergus Riley, Benjamin Kelly would be an excellent option there, but he's not available the first time. Pádraig Faulkner,
Aaron Watson, Cormac Daly, Kieran Brady of Arva. There's you just go on and on with the names. It's just massive.
Gerard Smith there in the defence there. Young Fortune, Barry Fortune,
Owen Somerville and Dan Horton as well. Like they've all been involved as well. Like there's, and then in the middle of the field you've Greg McGovern, you've Liam Buchanan,
Kevin Brady. Michael Argue, obviously you can't forget about him.
I think there's a young Monaghan, Cian Monaghan.
Donald's actually playing in the McCrory Cup final, so great day in the Monaghan household, or great couple of days hopefully in the Monaghan household in Drumlane.
Definitely.
And actually I suppose it was maybe silly not to mention what a few days Finbar Riley's going to have.
Yeah.
He's coach of the McCrory team that's in a McCrory Cup final on the Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day, and then on Wednesday he's coach of the Cavan under-21 team. That's his first time taking a county team, and they're going in, and the preparation has been absolutely brilliant. And I suppose he'll be very excited because today was Mother's Day and Fimber loves Mother's Day.
Yeah, Fimber, absolutely, he's the biggest fan of Mother's Day.
He is. I've seen him a number of times get excited about the fact that it's Mother's Day. So he's having 4 absolutely massive days, probably the biggest 4 days of his life.
Yeah, he's probably out tonight to celebrate Mother's Day,
I'd say
and to celebrate it with the mothers that are all out tonight. So fair play to him.
Going back to the under-21 panel, as you said, the midfield, what an amount of amazing options they have there. And not only that, I know that Thomas Galligan, who's on the McCrory, is on the under-21 panel now. I presume he couldn't be made available for Wednesday night, but as they go forward, he's another midfield option.
Well, that's it. And he, if they do win on Tuesday, he still could be available for Wednesday night, maybe as a sub,
some part.
to come in and play some part in it, And then when we look at the forwards, you've got Tom Hayes of Kirkhill, who's absolutely fantastic player. He gets the ball, he turns, he goes at his man. Jonathan McCabe of Arva, who was outstanding last year.
Yeah.
Ben Connerty, Conal Sheridan, Niall Walsh. I'm just looking down through one of the teams I have written out there. You could just go on, Damien.
You have Conor Madden there on
Conor
top
Madden
of that.
as well, yeah. Forgot about Conor,
Andy Graham, young Cavan Gales man there. Outstanding quality available. Cavan Riley from Butler's Bridge, another excellent wee player. I don't know, I'd hate to be Peter
Ryan
Riley.
Connolly.
Ryan Connolly, another young man from Drumlane. I would actually hate to be the management trying to pick this team. Now, from what I'm hearing, coming out from the challenge matches, they went through a bit of a rough patch. They didn't win. I think there was 2 or 3 challenge matches in a row, and they lost them all. And they were wondering, was this going to be their year? Was falling apart? The whole thing, apparently, the last 2 or 3 weeks has just lifted and gone through the roof. They played a very strong club team and should have beaten them, missed a couple of penalties, apparently, but played excellently. And then the in-house games, from what I've been told, are absolutely brilliant at the minute.
We discussed it at the start of the year. The panel is that good. At the start of the year, they had maybe 42 players. And from 1 to 42, you couldn't pick out a weak link.
No.
And maybe that has been the problem for them throughout the Hastings Cup and up until now, is that trying to get a settled team and say, right, this is the team we're going to go with.
We're going to have to stay with some boys and back them that little bit, because so much pressure from the bench, so much pressure coming on the other way. So maybe so, but look, again, we understand Wednesday nights is difficult for people to get up, but if you can get up to Ballybuffet, please do get out and support this. Cavan people have grown to love this competition. We've made it our own over the last half decade, so let's continue that. Let's get up to Ballybuffet. And it was interesting actually to note, today, obviously, this show is going out live. It's Sunday evening. Cavan didn't use any of the under-21s in the match against Galway today, which we'll come to later in the show. I was listening to on the way home. I know Ryan McHugh played against Donegal played Derry.
Yep.
No.
They did.
Oh,
no, sorry. Monaghan played Derry.
Monaghan played Derry. Donegal played
Kerry, was it?
Kerry today.
Kerry
today. And we're beaten down in Kerry.
Yeah.
And Ryan McHugh played. Now, I'm not sure if any more of the under-21s played, but there obviously wasn't a ban on them, or I say a ban, but it's not really a ban, but the under-21s weren't being held back. Maybe that shows that Donegal, like other counties, don't prioritise it the way we do.
Well, I wouldn't even say, I'd say if you had a team that was going to, you thought, God, we could win Ulster with this under-21 team, you'd probably hold them back. And you wouldn't allow them get involved with your senior team 3 days before your first Ulster game. Maybe, if you remember the game we played against Donegal last year in the Ulster Championship, they were very defensive, but going forward they didn't have a lot last year. And, Cavan broke them down eventually and got a good win against them. So maybe it's going to be something similar. It's going to be a very dogged game. We know Donegal's style at this stage, and they're not going to change it just because it's the Ulster Under-21 Championship and everybody's expecting it. We know what to expect, and I'd say Cavan have done a lot of work on that.
The fear that I'd have going into the game is that, as good as that team is on paper, minor, we were beaten by Donegal in the first round. That was a big defeat. That was a disappointment. Donegal, since that, got to the All-Ireland minor final last year with some very, very big, powerful lads that didn't look like they were minors, but obviously were. But they're going to come in and strengthen that Donegal team. I don't think Donegal realistically are. I would say that they're not going in saying, oh, Jesus, not that we can't win this competition. I would say more that Donegal are saying, well, our priority is stay in Division 1 more than win this competition.
Or then, you have a new manager as well in Donegal, and maybe his priority is not
Under 21.
Under 21.
That's
You know what I mean?
exactly
Like his priority is, as you said, keeping Donegal in Division 1 and getting a good run in Ulster. You know, like, and I suppose football is results driven these days, and for his CV he's not going to be worried about the under 21s.
Not at all. But look, we wish Peter O'Reilly and all the management there the very best of luck, and to the lads. Look, I know that they've worked extremely hard, and hopefully they get the result that their hard work deserves.
And don't forget, if you can't get up to that match, that game will be live on Shannonside Northern Sound, or actually on Northern Sound, from 8 o'clock in Ballybuffet. Myself and Damien will be up there, I suppose, doing our
delivering
usual,
updates.
Delivering our unbiased updates as usual.
Exactly. The teleprompter's gone a bit mad on us here again, but we're going to move on now to the
Cavan match today.
It was the Cavan matches, right? Yeah. So Cavan took on Galway over in Pearse Stadium in Salt Hill, and the Brefty boys pulled out an absolutely wonderful victory. Just that picture nearly fell on us.
It did not, did it?
It did. Look at it over your right shoulder.
Oh, it'll be all right.
It'll be okay. It'll hold on. But Cavan,
it's good luck apparently if a picture falls.
Is it? That's all right. Cavan had a wonderful result here. 12 points to Cavan, 10 points to Galway. Mickey, we were both over at the game doing commentary on it, but an absolutely outstanding second half display by Cavan.
It was an outstanding display in the second half by Cavan. The first half display wasn't terribly bad. It was like they had as many, if not more, attacks than Donegal. They just didn't take shots on. Now, talking to a couple of players after the game, the wind was very strong going into them goals, and that when they had been doing their warm-up, they had been taking shots and they were dropping short. You look at some of the frees that Galway took in the second half, they did drop short. They dropped around the 21-metre line, so that freeze was stronger than we thought. We did have a penalty in the first half in the 17th minute. That could have been the changing of the game in Cavan's favour at the time. It would have put us a point ahead. I think it would have put us, and or maybe it would have been level or a point ahead. But
I think it was 5-2.
5-2 would have meant that going in at half time, we probably would have been closer to them. Obviously, with a goal, we would have been closer to them, and the second half would have been easier. But by God, such a second half display by Cavan. Tomás score. Actually, first half and second half, Tomás score was exceptional.
Yeah, have to agree with that, and delighted for him because Tomás hasn't got a lot of game time in the last while, but for him to come in, and he came in against Kildare, and I thought he'd done well against Kildare. Just he brings a level of honesty of effort all the way through, and that's something that you can't be overrated.
Oh, absolutely not. And the thing about Tomás score is, like, he knows he's not going to be. There we go. There's the luck.
There's the luck.
There's the luck.
We needed.
The thing about Tomás score is he knows he's not going to feature all the time, so he does. But he is so proud and honoured to be in there. He gives it everything he's got. At training, he gives it everything. And matches, he gives it everything. You know, he's just such a true professional when it comes to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I was delighted to see him getting such a massive display today.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I suppose the other man, well, there's any man to me we could mention, but Martin Dunn didn't start, came off the bench after not playing against Down, not playing against Kildare, came off the bench and whacked over 3 points from play, 2 from frees. But the 3 points were exceptional. Yeah, the 3 points that he got. The first one in the first half against the Breeze. The full back, I think it was Finian Hanlon, was just kind of guiding him down along the sideline nearly towards the end line, going, if you want to shoot, you can shoot, because it's not going to happen. He jinked onto his left, back onto his right, and Hanley stood off him, but he gained that little extra yard of space. And just Hanley didn't think he could score.
Didn't think he could score. And he just clipped it over the bar with the instep. Yeah. And it was just a wonderful score by Martin Dunn.
And it had come at a point when we had mentioned and said that Cavan players looked like they were lacking confidence because they had got into positions where you'd say, have a go, just have a go, and they weren't getting there. Now, again, we weren't privy to the strength of the wind at that point, and they were, so maybe they were making the right decision. From our position, it didn't look like it was. Yeah, they should have.
Well, the wrong decision was carrying it into the next tackle. Yeah. When the shot was on or the release of the ball was on, carrying it into the next tackle when they should have released it or taken the shot on. But they didn't take the shot on, they didn't release the ball and ended up getting turned over. And that led to a few scores for Galway in the first half, not killing the ball. And as we all know, like, killing the ball is huge. You know, you have to make the ball dead.
Well, if you don't kill it, it's giving away possession, and that's all it is. So it's simple enough. But it was an excellent display. I suppose Rory Dunn, to me, stood out at full back as well. I thought he had an excellent game. Fergal Flanagan's tackling was outstanding. Jason McLaughlin's defending was a whole lot better this week. I thought he had a very good game defensively. Previous 2 games, he played well going forward, on the attack, coming up the field, using his pace, using his speed to get up the field. But defensively, I thought he was weak in the last few games. This week, I thought he was rock solid. Yeah,
he was rock solid. The full back line, even Killian Brady, who was taken off after maybe 15 minutes as well.
Tactically, though, it was to bring on Martin Dunn.
Yeah.
So which again, look at people out there were given out, and you know, I had my doubts, or not doubts, but I had my issues with the management. But all credit to the management. They have been brilliant today. They made a few excellent moves, bringing on Martin Dunn, scoring 5 points, brilliant move, and moving back
Martin Riley into the half back line.
But being aware of the situation that maybe Martin Dunn for the 2 home games, I think they're actually dead right not playing him in those games. Wet, heavy field, horrible conditions.
Strong winds.
Doesn't suit Martin Dunn. No. Today was beautiful.
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier on. Yeah, and we said like how this is the time of the year for Martin Dunn, especially a day like today. And the type of pitch, a nice solid pitch, a nice fast pitch, and dry, and okay, a little bit of a breeze. It was blowing in our favour in the second half, and it did suit Martin Dunn. They brought him on at the right stage as well when we needed someone to try and kick a score.
Yeah, absolute credit to them, and I personally believe that the management made all the right calls on the day and got the result that they deserve. So it's great to see it. Next up for Cavan now is Westmeath. That's taking place on...
it's not this weekend. This weekend coming, it's the following weekend.
It's the following weekend, which is the 28th of March. So it's Saturday the 28th of March. It's round 6 of the Alliance Football League Division 2, and it's at 7 p.m. in Kingspan Breffni Park. We're just going to show you the table there. So as we go to air, all games have been played, and you can see there, Down are sitting on top of the table. They have 8 points after their victory today, where they beat Westmeath, I think it was.
Down bet Westmeath in Mullingar.
In Mullingar. Yeah. So Down, a team that I felt we should have bet, are now top of the table. They
are. See, the thing about, I know you were saying about the management there a second ago, and they got all the calls right today. Another thing today in the game against Galway, we didn't have a man sent off. Yeah. Right, our discipline was very, very good. We got a couple of black cards, but they were all tactically done, I think.
And they were at the right time.
At the right times.
Yeah.
Okay, and we didn't have a man sent off, and we didn't concede any goals. You know, and that's something that we have been doing. We conceded goals against Kildare. We conceded one against Down, albeit a foul at the time. It should have been a free out to Cavan. But you know, that Down game was a massive game. We should have won that game.
And as bad as we played, and that was probably the worst performance, we still could have won that game, and that was the funny thing about it. With 14 men, we still could have won it. But as you can see, so Down are sitting on top. They have 5 games played, they've 8 points. Meath, Cavan and Roscommon are all joint in second place there with 5 points. Cavan have an extra game played on Meath and Roscommon, who actually I think play
next weekend.
Next
so Sunday.
A result for either one of them will put them into the driving seat for promotion.
Yep.
A draw would probably be a bad result for Cavan, I would say.
It
wouldn't either, because we have to play Meath.
Yeah, we have to play Meath, so you'd probably want, for Cavan, we'd want Meath to beat Roscommon, so we would. And then for, because then it's in our hands. We beat Westmeath and we beat Meath, we'd go up, or we'd be in the driving seat, definitely.
Yeah. It leaves it then, Galway are on 4 points with 4 games played. Westmeath have 5 games played, they have 4 points. Laois have 4 games played, they have 3 points. And Kildare have 5 games played, and they have 2 points. So Kildare now, with only 2 games left, pretty much facing the drop now, I would say. Even if they pick up, well, look, mathematically they can still
stay mathematically they
but
can
they have
stay
to
up.
play Laois yet.
Yeah, they have to play Laois, so that again, that's a huge game for them.
Yeah.
The other big game, I suppose, looking at it from a Cavan point of view, is Galway and Laois. Their game was called off as well the same weekend as Roscommon and Meath, so they have a game in hand on us. So, you know, Galway...
It's hard to know what you want, because if Laois pick up a win there, they're level on points with us.
Yeah.
And therefore that brings us down towards the relegation end of it. But if Galway pick up the win there, they go above us, and it pulls us towards the middle of the table.
Exactly.
So it's hard to know what you want. A draw.
The only
we'll
thing
go for
is,
a draw.
we'd love a draw on that one. But the only thing is that Cavan's fate is in their own hands now. They've got Westmeath at home and they've got Meath away in Park Tolchin, which is definitely a winnable game for Cavan. I've said this.
Yeah, well, both games I would say are winnable.
Yeah.
In fairness, like they're capable.
Westmeath coming off the back of a huge defeat today to down in Mullingar.
That's right. That's right.
So
confidence will be low on the Westmeath.
And it'll be high in Cavan.
And it should be high in Cavan again. So we're going to move on now because we're running out of time. But the next we're going to concentrate on the Cavan ladies. They had an absolutely crucial game today where they were playing the team that was right beside them in the table, Armagh. They came through this match with a victory, a very tight victory, a goal and 15 points, which is 18 to Armagh's 3 goals and 7 points, which is 16 points. So a 2-point win there for the Cavan side in Breffni Park. Absolutely huge result there, Mickey.
Massive result. And Cavan, they were leading. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 points at one stage early in the first half. Armagh plugged back, got a goal, and they seemed to. Cavan were finding it hard to get back on level terms with them. There was always a point or two in it, but in the last 10 minutes, Cavan pushed on. Aisling Doonan, from all accounts, from what I saw on Twitter, had a massive game. Scored some vital points for Cavan in that second half, and that's just a huge win, massive win.
Well, to score 16 times, conceding 10, granted 3 goals might worry them a bit, but they still to show the graft and show the determination. Not forgetting, Armagh are the current Ulster senior champions.
Yeah.
Like that's such a confidence builder for these Cavan ladies and for Conor and his backroom team. A massive result there. Can't be overemphasised. That really is a game changer. We'll bring up the table now in a second just to show exactly how important that result was there for Cavan and for their chances of promotion into Division 1 of the National Football League. Hopefully the table can come up now. We'll get it for you as soon as possible. There we go. We have it up on screen. So now you can see after 5 games played in the Division 2, Donegal are sitting on top there with 15 points. Cavan joining them on top with 15 points, only behind on score difference, which is they're 6 points behind on score difference there, but not a huge thing. It will come down to probably that last game between them. There's, 7 teams, so there's 6 games in total. So the last game is the decider.
Yeah, the last game will be the deciders. It's going to be Cavan and Donegal in the last game. We spoke about this the last day. They had played all the bottom teams, and all they had left was the team in second and third. So, it's...
First and second.
No, in second and third, because Cavan were top of the table.
Oh, no, yeah, Cavan were second, sorry, yeah. First and third. Donegal were top going into this round.
And Cavan had to play with Donegal and Armagh.
Yeah, sorry.
But so it's huge. I don't think that Armagh can catch them now.
No. 1 game left. It's a 3-pointer. So, as in Armagh can only reach 12 points. Now, again, I'm not sure if promotion is 1 or 2 places in the division, whether it's the top 2 go up or just the top 1. But either way, it comes down to who's going to be crowned Division 2 champions. Will be the next game, Cavan against Donegal. That's taking place on the 29th of March in Kingspan, Breffni Park, I would suggest anyway. It's Sunday the 29th of March, the day after Cavan play Westmeath in Breffni Park. So, and that game will take place at 2 p.m. If you haven't been to a Cavan ladies game, that's the one to go to. That's the big one. And, it would be such a wonderful thing for these Cavan ladies to get promotion to Division 1 where they are capable of playing.
And if you looked at their score difference, there was only 6 points between them, but they had conceded the exact same. You can see it there now. Points against, 43 points. But Donegal have scored 6 points more. So, it's definitely the 2 best teams in that division by far,
and playing on the last game of the season in the league, it couldn't have been timed any better. Absolutely wonderful there. So look at, as we say, 29th of March, Cavan ladies taking on Donegal, Kingspan Breffni Park, I would say at 2 p.m. Get out and support the Cavan ladies. They're putting in massive work, huge effort going on here. So, we want to see the ladies push on and gain that promotion. The Cavan under-16 ladies were playing the first round of their Ulster Championship on Saturday afternoon. It took place at 2 p.m. in St. Phelim's Park, Drumalee. They had Antrim as their visitors there, and they came away with a 1-point win in a high-scoring game. 5 goals and 9 points to Cavan. 5 goals and 8 points to Antrim, a 1-point win.
Classic, absolutely brilliant. It's a game that I would love to have been at, and you know what it does is it keeps the momentum going. The minors won last week in the first round of their Ulster Championship as well, and both teams looking to try and hold on to the trophies that they won last year. You know,
that's it. The Division 1 titles. Obviously, we had the under-16 management in with us 2 weeks ago, and you know, great people there, great hard working committee. So you know, we want, again, get out and support these girls when they're up next. I think it's 2 weeks until their next game, but it's good to see them progressing the way the rest of the Cavan footballers, both men and women, are. It's a rising tide lifts all ships.
Isn't that what they said earlier
That's
on?
what they said.
We just want to give a quick shout out there to the Killygarry Gaelic Football Club, who are doing the 20k drop, and that's taking place tomorrow night, Monday night, March the 16th at 8 p.m. in the Hotel Kilmore. It's going to be a fantastic night. So
they're not just going to drop 20k and hope that people just find it somewhere. It's a game show in case people don't understand.
It's a bit like the million pound drop that they have on Channel 4, except they're doing it with 20k.
So people in the audience will be pulled out and basically given the opportunity to answer the questions. They'll be given quite difficult questions, but they'll be given 4 options, and they must put a segment, an amount of money on each one, unless they're 100% sure that they're right, and put it all on the one that they're sure they're right with. But it's a great game, and it should be an absolutely brilliant night's crack out in the Hotel Kilmore. The show gets started at 8 o'clock, so get out good and early, get tickets on the door, and get out to support the Killygarry Football Club.
Yeah.
Killygarry Gaelic Football Club, or
GFC.
GA Club. Is it a GFC? It is a GFC.
Yeah, it's GFC.
My apologies. Next up, we're just going to go back one to the Mick Higgins Memorial Series, which again we all know is taking place in New York. So the Gaelic Athletic Association of Greater New York, in conjunction with Cavan County Board, Cavan New York GFC, the Cavan County Association, the New York Ladies Gaelic Football Association, the New York Minor Board, and all those together have confirmed the lineup for the games, which will take place over the weekend of the Mick Higgins Memorial Series.
Yeah, I'll give you a little break there, Damien, and I'll hopefully be able to get that back up. Gaelic Park will be the venue on both Thursday, April the 9th, and Sunday, April the 12th. And it's hoped that the Gaels of New York will come out in big numbers to witness a wide array of Gaelic football.
Yeah, they are. They're very hopeful that a big crowd will come out to Gaelic Park. It's going to be a wonderful occasion. The schedule for the Sunday that's April the 12th, is that New York men's team will take on the Cavan men's team at 4:30 p.m. That's the second of the games, obviously the first one being on the Thursday evening. I think that's at 8 o'clock, but that's the highlight. That's the big game on the Sunday afternoon, and then at 3 o'clock preceding that game, the Cavan New York ladies team will take on a New York selection.
Yep.
Again, that's at 3 o'clock, and then after that, the Fela boys from New York will take on Delco Gales, and the Fela girls then at 7:30 will take on St. Bridget's. So an absolutely brilliant day lined up for Sunday the 12th in Gaelic Park in New York. We're hoping in the next week or so that we'll have some people from New York on. We'll do a Skype interview on the show to just bring the attention to this, because the Gaels of New York, the Cavan people and all other clubs over in New York are putting in such a huge effort and keeping our games alive over in the Big Smoke, the Big Apple.
And not only that, but like it's wonderful to see the GAA community in New York putting on such a massive event in honour of Mick Higgins, you know, and it's their 100-year anniversary. The Cavan senior team are going out. We're going out as well to do some commentaries. So don't forget, you'll be able to get those games on Northern Sound. Hopefully, we'll be able to confirm that soon enough. But there will be the time delay. Obviously, it'll be 8 o'clock New York time and 3 o'clock New York time. So work back to Ireland on that one, and we'll be getting them. But it's just going to be a wonderful occasion.
It's a phenomenal occasion and a phenomenal opportunity for Cavan, the Cavan County team, to go out, do a bit of preparation, come to the championship, and also for the New York team to get a good competitive game, 2 good competitive games before they play Galway in the Connacht Championship, which is a rare thing for New York. So I think it's a brilliant idea, an absolutely excellent idea, and it's well backed by the GA community in New York. And look, hopefully it's the first of many years.
Yeah, looks like if it goes well, you never know, Damien. We could be going to New York every Easter.
We could be. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? So, folks, that brings us to the end of this week's show. Remember, if you want to get in contact with us here, we'd be delighted to hear from you.
Yeah, so you can email us on GaelicFootballViews@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook by searching Gaelic Football Views, or follow us on Twitter @GaelicFV. So,
our thanks to our backroom team tonight, Brian Daly, of course, and Paul Cox, for always being there to help us and give us an encouraging word in our ear, or a thumbs up from behind the cameras.
To let us know that that's ready to go, lads.
That's ready to go.
So until next week, folks, it's good night from me, and it's...
God bless.